So I will be uploading a complete C++ tutorial on YouTube, which is free of cost, and teaching C++ basically in one long video itself. And so I will be teaching from basics, from C++ basics to further level. So I will be creating this 1 hour videos because I think C++ is very important language and everyone uses it. Uh, so that's my like goal, so that I can create this. Like C++ was basically invented by Danish computer scientist Bijan Starstrup at AT&T Bell Labs in 1979. So if we see C++ is basically a modern programming language which is all used in very various sectors like banking, railways, etc. for creating like software like railway reservation systems and various other stuff. So there are many libraries, like many IDEs available for like writing your C++ code. So you can use actually many IDs. One is Code Blocks, uh, which is I think one of most used IDs for C++ programming language. And also, apart from IDs, you can also use online C++ compilers which are available on net to use some like to test some of your basic code in C++. I will be creating that tutorial for this basic series on that online compiler only, so it's like easy to understand for everyone. Uh, so you need not to worry to install any ID and try. You can just simply go to those online IDs and test your code. Also, like I'm not creating a detailed video to explain how to install IDs because there are many couple of videos available on YouTube to how to install any ID for using C++. So I think you will be able to do that easily. But I will be focusing on more on basics of C++ for those people like who are just like in entered college and they want to just know get a grasp of basic C++ so that they can proceed with another important sections like competitive programming and etc. Uh, in their career. So I will be starting now. So guys, before I start, I want to tell you some of very important websites which you should refer for your preparation of C++ or referring your basics from for C++. One is W3 Schools. These websites contain some uh, basics of C++. Apart from that, it also have HTML, CSS, JavaScript, many other languages. So if you are like struggling for any of basics and you want to just start, you can just refer this website. It is a good it is very like it is a good start to basically learn basics, and then you can definitely take up a advanced course. uh, Apart from it, you can also refer Geeks for Geeks. This is the one which I referred a lot. uh, like I will be teaching you this tutorial from my knowledge from my studies and a couple of websites, from sources from a couple of websites. So yeah, uh, you can also refer to like tutorials point. uh, uh, Hello guys, so I'm starting with the basic structure of body of C++, like how does it looks, what function it contains. So basically we are C++ basically contains this int main function as you can see on my screen. So this function basically contains our main code, like whatever print statements we want to include in our code, or if we want to create any other function, we just call it from this main function itself. And this is the body. This is the part from where we start our code. And basically hash include stdio.di.h was basically used in C, not in C++. In C++, we use basically hash include IO stream, which is the input output stream. and this basically this header contains two main functions in C++, which are cin and cout, to take input and show output on the computer screen. And also we also use this using namespace std. Basically we are using this using namespace std because if we don't use it, so for like for every cout or cin we write in our code, we have to use this std like this. So like it is very clumsy, and it is very like tiring also to write it again and again. So we are using creating a namespace uh, in the beginning itself. Using is basically a keyword in C++ to create a namespace. And guys, I think you might have understood the use of using namespace std and why we use it to actually remove the need of writing std colon colon. So let me give you an example. Like if I remove it, does our code actually run and give us any output? So like as you can see, it is showing output hello world. If I run it again, now it is showing hello world output, and I'm not using any namespace like yesterday as it was written in the previous way. I have removed it and still it is giving output because I'm using namespace std colon after iostream. So iostream is a basically, you can remember that it is a input output stream class which provides us two variables cin and cout. So cin is basically to take the data inside a variable, and cout basically shows the data on the output screen. So also guys, you can see that I am using int main here, int. So int is a value that the main function is should return in C++. You cannot use like it is not like you will not write int main and like then it will give an error here. So it should return some integer value. So 0 is an integer. Also, you cannot use void main because in C++ void main is not considered. It was used earlier, but in C language, but in C language also, it is recommended that main function should return a value instead of not returning something. So uh, int main is required. So now we can move on to basically understand what are the data types in C++ language. So guys, these are data types in C++. So C++ has three type of data types. One is primary, derived, and user defined. So basically, primary data types are integer, character, boolean, floating point, double floating point, void, and white character. So these are the primary data types, and the derived one are basically created from the primary, which are the basic data types in C++. Uh, we are using the derived data types from the primary ones only. So these are function, array, pointer, reference, and user defined is are the data types which you can create by on your own in C++, like class, structure, union, enum, type def. We will discuss them all of these in detail one by one. So let's start with the primary first. uh, so basically they are also called primitive data types. These data types are built in or predefined, like they are already built in the C++ programming language. And so that you can see derived data types are basically derived from the primitive, which is like which are the basic inbuilt data types in C++. We are creating derived data types from those data types only, like function, array, pointer, reference. So basically, we are creating if we are creating any function, we are using like any of these integer, character, floating point values there. So we then only we are creating this data type, or we are creating an array, etc. Uh, so user defined data types are that which are defined by the user itself. Like you're defining something like a class, a structure, union, enumeration, etc. So like let's talk now in detail about what type of data types are there. Let's talk about integer first. The keyword used for like integer is basically int. We use int for getting an integer data type. and it is a 4 byte. It consumes 4 bytes of memory. It is ranging from -2147483648 to 2147483647. So like you can create a value from in between, like including these two numbers, and in between these ranges you can create a value. Outside it, basically if you give a bigger value in this, then it is going to take a modulus, so that the value again comes in between, or like comes in this range itself. So it will not allow any value apart from which is given in here. Otherwise it is going to take a modulus. That's it. So guys, as you can see, I have created an integer variable here, int data, and I am first of all using taking an input for this variable cin. I'm using cin to take the data value cin, and double arrow in forward direction, and after that I'm using cout to basically output what value I have taken as input in this variable. So let us try it again. So now the program is running. I am giving 7, and after if I like I have to press enter, then it will show me the output, what value I have given as the input. So this is the like demo of how to use integer data type in this C++ language. Now let's move to another data type. So guys, now comes the character data type. So character data type is basically used for storing characters, and we are using basically keyword called char for this. And whenever we are storing some character in our computer, so it is storing that character in form of a ASCII value. So there is a ASCII value table chart which can like which for every character, like for alphabets also, like A B C D in small or big, they contain a ASCII value. Character has typically like a space of 1 byte of memory, and their range is from -128 to 127. Or we can say, like, if we are not using like in this form, if we are just considering like in another form, zero, we can say it from 0 to 255. So like let me tell you in detail what are ASCII values. uh, so guys, as you can see, I have created a character variable here, char, using a char keyword, and I have taken a name here like for it. So basically now telling like what names you can use. There is a naming convention in C++. So we can create names according to that for our variables. I will be explaining you that. So let me like explain this first. So this is a variable C, and we are assigning it a character value here. So we can create assign it only one character, not a couple of characters, because it will be able to like store only one character. So after that, we can output that value of character using the cout variable. Cout I'm using like, so if I run the program now, you can see that it is giving me output here for like what value which I stored in the character R. Now it is returning me that value here. So you can also like take the input for the value of character here using the scene that we used at the time of integer variable. But remember that whatever value you are entering, and you should like give only one character variable, because if in rare cases you try to do this, like you are typing multiple characters, then you see that it is going to take only the first character value, and rest all are removed. So keep like remember, like if you are taking the value, like if you are considering for a character variable, you should give only one character instead of typing a string here, because this is considered a string value. So it has taken only the u value, and all other are removed here. You can see. Uh, so like that. So guys, hope you understood this concept. So now let me tell you about ASCII values. So guys, you can see this is the ASCII table. So guys, you can see in front of your like on my screen that this is the ASCII table value, and it basically ranges, the values are in decimal, It ranges from 0 to 127 here, you can see. And for like for 0 to 31 we are seeing that no character value is there, but from 32 in the decimal values are starting here. And for the digits like number 0 to 9, the decimal value are from 48 to 57. Similarly for alphabets also, you can see for the big A it is from 65 to up to 90 here, and from small a to like from for small in small characters it is from 97 to 122. So it's like that simply. You can actually download it from internet. I'm just showing it you for reference that how does it look like. uh, you can download or you can refer it from any of the website. It is freely available. uh, so yeah, also like whatever values I'm showing here uh, are already like pre you need not to worry that if you are referring some a side table from another website, so it will be changed. It never changes. It remains the same. So guys, basically I'm also want to tell one thing more. So basically cin and cout are basically cin is an input object. So guys, I want to tell you also that you might be confused like why the values are from minus 128 to 127 in char. So basically that is the concept that if that the char value holds a signed value or unsigned value. So like that only it is from minus 128 to 127. Yeah. Okay. So that is the concept. Also like if we see like in the or like it is from 0 to 255, but that is because if you see that a char value has one byte, it can hold one byte, and in one byte there are 8 bits. And if you do 2 to the power of 8, you get around uh, what we say 256. So it is basically from 0 to 255 because we are starting from 0, so we get that much of value. Discussing the concept of signed and unsigned just in a couple of minutes. But let me continue now with another data type. I will be explaining you like a bit about ASCII further. So next value is Boolean. Uh, so basically Boolean is a true false type data type. Like it can either store true or it can store false. The keyword to store a Boolean value is called bool. You can like it is a very simple data type. You can like just create it by bool, and then you can just type simply true. Now just store the value. You can just really see out. Now you can see that it is outputting one because one basically means true, and if you like try to use false, it is going to give you zero. See, so basically this is the it is giving output like as in numbers. We can use if else condition to actually output for true or false based on whether it is having a zero value or a one value. And if we try to take input here, like if I give like this true, okay, so it is giving me zero. Why? Because we have to give this value in the form of I think zero or one. 1 minute. Yeah. So guys, we guessed right. We have to just like output, like input only zero and one value. If we are taking a boolean value input, because if we use true and false, it will by default, which is give 0, which is a by default stored value in this boolean variable c. So it will be giving you the by default store value as output as in the form 0 and 1. So be sure if you are taking input, give only 0 which is false and 1 which is true. I think you understood it. If you understood, then okay, then please let me know also. Thank you. Now we can move forward with another data type. So guys, now starting with another data type which is void. So uh, give me 1 minute. So basically void, no, sorry, not void, basically floating point. So floating point, basically this data type basically stores the decimal value, and we use like keyword float for like representing these values, and the precision to which this data type stores value is to up to 1 digit. Similarly, for double floating point, it stores up to value for precision up to two digits, and we use keyword double for it. Float like requires 4 byte of memory, and double requires 8 byte of memory to store data. Uh, so now we can see actually the examples of these data types set how like they store data. Actually, I'm not like like reading from or giving examples from Geeks for Geeks, but yeah, I am like just taking care that you should get the proper definition, whatever I'm explaining to you. Though I take my knowledge from various websites as well. So let's come to our editor. So we can declare some variable. So like the process is still same. Uh, yeah. So you can see like I have entered this decimal value and I am getting a value as 8.9. Similarly, for basically float and double store floating point values only, but double has a more precision and its range is also more compared to float. Float has can store only 4 bytes, where double can store 8 bytes of data. So you can see the comparison. Even if we use double here, the result will be again same, whatever value will be. But it depends on the range what we are using. So yeah, you can see. Hope you got like the basic understanding of these two data types. Uh, we may like dive into these two data types again, uh, and I will discuss them like some another important points of these. But now we can actually complete our very primitive data types first. Uh, So basically, the other data type is void. Void means without any value. So void data represents a valueless entity. Uh, so it basically it does not contain any value, and whatever data type we are using for this type of functions, they don't return. So they don't return any value. So basically, we use this keyword mainly with functions which do not have any return value, and they don't return anything. Uh, yeah. So now we can actually move to byte character. So basically, it is also a character data type only, and like the difference is only that it is having a more size compared to the general, like the usual character 1 byte size. It has generally size of 2 or 4 byte long. So like it is not like it is not like that it is used too much. But yeah, you should know that what is byte character in primitive data types, because it is a part of the language here. Like so now uh, you can see I don't think it is very important to discuss, but yeah, you should know, because in general you will be using character only, and whatever you require, I think a lot of important things can be achieved using the character variable itself. You don't need like this much, like not this much, but yeah, you know, general scenario we discussed. But yeah, you should know what is white character. You can see some examples for it. uh, uh, sorry, I actually did a mistake here. Jar. Mhm. So like you can see that it is a data type here. I have written it and it is showing in blue. So you can understand that it is a data type. It is giving some error due to some other reason. Uh, okay, I will tell you about this. We can now see size of operator. Basically, it is used to find the number of bytes occupied a variable or data. And like if you are okay, if you have created a variable and you want to know what size it is occupied like char or int, you can just simply enter its data type, like um, and like you can just find the size. You can also enter the variable here, the char variable. You can see what size it is using. Uh, so let me I can show you this example first instead of this error. Initializer before this. Yeah, so guys, let me show you. So basically, see, I have used integer variable a, and I'm using size of. So now it is giving me size 4 because I'm using an integer variable. No matter what, like you are storing one, you are storing two, but yeah, it is going to give its internal size is 4 bytes as output. So this is the user size of operator as I'm showing you. It is a primitive data type, uh, and that's it. So I think these were all the primitive data types till now that we discussed, and now I think now I can tell you basically about signed, unsigned, short, and long. uh, and also about macro constants a bit. Hello guys. So now let's discuss the concept of basically signed, unsigned, short and long. So different between these things is that we use them as basically before the data types to denote that whether the integer is a signed integer or an unsigned integer. So if you see the short int, it is a 2 byte variable. It is a 2 byte variable, so it can only store 2 bytes. But yeah, it have values from negative to positive, like minus 32,768 to 32,767. Similarly, if you like short int basically is a is to denote short word is to denote that it will store only 2 bytes of data within this range. Yeah. So now if you use unsigned short int, it means that you only want to store values which are positive. So it will now if you can see that this number is almost double of it because all negative values are not needed. So it will be going from 0 to 65535. Similarly, this is the case for unsigned int and signed int. So this is the basically use of assigned and unsigned to denote whether we want to store negative values. We will use signed. If we don't want and we want to increase our range, we will just simply make it unsigned. So long int is basically the general int value is like minus this. Even if we do its long int, then also it remains the same because int integer range is only like till this only. So similarly, if we try to do long int, it means uh, its range is going to increase a bit, as shown like 2 to power 63. You can like get this value from anywhere or on net. I am just showing for a reference from Geeks or Geeks that this is the real table which we use. Uh, but you should like understand what I'm saying uh, about the terms and like the concept is very important. Uh, so uh, now basically similarly, in similar way, we using signed and unsigned char, float, double, long, double. Basically, float, like you see, is 4 bytes and double is 8 bytes, and long double is even like it has a even more bandwidth in the amount of values you can store. Hello guys. So now let's discuss about macro constants. So as you can see on my screen, these are like char min, char max. So basically, it is a predefined name for a value, like the minimum value for any object, like of type char. Similarly, this char max is the maximum value. Similarly, we have like int min and int max in case you want to get maximum or minimum value, because most of the time we don't remember such large values or such minimum values. We can use these macro constants. So basically, to use these macro constants, you have to this include this file in hash include limits.h. So uh, basically, if you include this file, you can use this char min and char max, and the output you can see what is the value of these. Let me show you example by doing it myself. So now you can see on my screen that I will include this as hash include limits.h, and I'm using namespace d. And now want to output c out char max. If I run this, you can see output is 127. Similarly, I can also do for char min. It is minus 128 in negative. So I think you understood. You can just refer this macro constant and try on your own. There's not much to discuss on my part here in the basic section. Hope you understand the point. If you feel free to write anything on my in my comment section if you want to discuss. Uh, Hello guys. So now I want to discuss about arrays. And so basically arrays are used to store like multiple values in a single variable instead of creating multiple variables. So like we can create arrays for integer, float, double, strings also. So string is a different a type of multiple characters. uh, this is the meaning of array. Now let me like explain you by example. So like first of all, before explaining and like what are arrays, I can first of all tell you what are strings basically. So as we just like understood what were characters, so string are basically a set of characters only. Yeah, now you can see that I have created this string. You have to just use this string keyword here to create a string variable, and you can just assign it a value, and then you can basically output the value. So like if in case if we take the input, then let's see what happens. So now basically if you want to like store a value like this, and if you press the enter, so it takes a value up to there. Now you can see that because we just gave a space here, it has left all the values after, and it has only taken the geeks letter, geeks word. So I will tell you how to deal with such situations where we have to consider the space also. But let's first move on to arrays. So basically you can create an array of any size, and like if you leave this empty bracket here, it means that you are assigning all values to 0 or to basically null in case of characters. But yeah, so basically I can assign it like 1 2 3. So basically you can see that I am using array with four values now, 1 2 3 4, and I'm using a for loop. Basically for loop is a kind of iterative repetition of this statement from 0 to 4. It is from one, not 1 to 4, because array are indexed from 0 instead of 1. So we are using I equal to 0 and I less than 4 here. These statements are separated with semicolon, and I less than is less than 4 because when we don't want equal to 4, because equal to 4 is not here. It will be an invalid error here, out of index, because array values are only from 0 1 2 3. 4 is only the number of values you're storing here, and I plus plus basically increments the I value. First it was 0, then it is going to 1 2 3 4, like that. If you want to increment by two steps, you can do I plus equal to 2. uh, Similarly is the case for subtraction also. I plus plus, in that case you use I minus minus. These are post increment and decrement operators. uh, so basically now you can see if I run this, it is giving me output. Here it is giving in this output in different line because I'm using slash n, which is a new line character after this. So you have to just add this, and you can add a new line. We discussed now about this array function. Now basically like not a function, actually about the printing of these very values. So now basically we can understand like if we want to take input, then we can simply again use C in here and take the input of these array values. uh, in the same fashion we have to create this for loop. So for loop basically is using C++ to use iteration. So if in case if we want to make some condition, like if we want to print only even numbers, not odd, like not odd numbers, then we have to consider conditional statements. So which is called if else in C++. So you have to just if else like this, and you can like check the condition if array I modulus 2 equal to 0. Here modulus is basically checking if on division of 2 this gives the remainder as 0 or not. If it is giving, then it is an even number. Else we can just continue. Continue means that we have to just again repeat this iteration again. So now you can see it is giving me the even numbers only. So this is use of if this happens, then we have to do this. And if this doesn't happen, we have to do this the in the else part. I hope you understood this. So this is the use of if else. I am just covering the basic, basically basic building blocks of coding of like what are important. Uh, so like which will help you in like going advanced or in building your concepts further. You can just take the basics from this video, and you can also like search on the websites which I told you in the starting. That will be very helpful. Now basically in So guys, basically I am creating this video in for just 1 hour. It will be like a sprint video for covering up your basics in C++. You can just if you are very new to, you can just use this video to get a fresher up of this programming languages of this programming language C++. In my further videos, I will be basically creating short videos of a duration of 5 minutes for different languages like Python on detailed topics, which will be beneficial, more beneficial uh, for people basically in like who are learning Python, or it will be very slow video and detailed video. But yeah, this video is covering basics. You can also like brush up your C++. It will be also very beneficial. So let's go and understand some another important things. So guys, in case like if I want to print basically -1 in case when we encounter the uh, one value. So what I can do, I can just create a if else condition in this else block itself. But instead of doing that, like this programming language provide us else if statement. So I can make a check here after if it is 1, I can just output cout equal to -1. That's it. After that else we can create again else, and we can actually continue. Let me basically we can make multiple else if statement, like if else if else if else if, and again we can use else here. So that's the like way. In if also we can create a block and we can use if else, and else if block also we can use if else, and the same structure again, like if we are in else if block, we can use if else if else if else again. So it doesn't matter you are in else, you can use the same structure in a repetitive manner. This is also like followed for loop as well. You can use them in if block, else block, anywhere. In for loop you can also do for loop nesting, so that is possible. You can use for loop like if statement before for loop, uh, and like you can but yeah, you should not use else. The only exception is that you should not create else statement before if statement. If statement should always be there for else. uh, so that is very important thing. Else you can do anything, like you can you do if else if and else, and you can do inner nesting as well, like you can create inner else if blocks, like basically conditions. So that is the process. This is the basic which you should understand, but I am telling a kind of higher kind of thing, this nesting thing. If you will encounter this if you are doing some computation kind of thing. But if you are doing just a basic programming for just printing values, you can understand this. uh, so now I think I should discuss about functions. Basically, functions are whatever till now we are running any code, we are doing it through our main function. But in case if we like this code is I think is having like acquiring a more space here, and we don't need like if in case we don't need it, and there are like repetitive code in the main block, we can just create a main like function like print function to remove that repetition, and we can just call the function for that work whenever we require that. So we the creating a function is very simple. The first part contains the return type, then the function name. Here you can basically use from the function parameters, uh, like whatever parameters you want to pass the function. Suppose I want to pass the array here, and this function is not returning anything. If you want to return anything, you can give the return type and use the return statement. Return whether it is an array, whether it is an integer, you can just return or that value, or you can value minus like semicolon. Value is an integer variable now. Like you have to create this variable first. Also, like you can just simply write -1, which is also integer, which will be considered as integer. And if you write -1.0, it will be converted to an integer variable. Then it will be returned. So you should keep in mind these things. So basically, what I'm doing is I will just cut this all, and I will paste it here. Now basically, I have to what I have to do is I have to remove this from here, and I can just call print function. See, for this you have to just type array, because these function basically need the reference. Whenever we pass any array, it is going to be passed in the form of address to this function. So you have to just type this arr, it will be passed here. Basically this is only for arrays. It is the functions only take its address, the reference of the first element. So and then after that it increments its values. Hope you are understanding. If you are understanding, please tell me if you are having doubts in comments. But I am just covering the basics uh, of the like language. So you can see that after adding this slash n, I am able to get this output -1, 2, and 4 on my output screen. Uh, so like I think you have now understood the use of functions, like how we have to create the function, uh, and how I'm passing the values here. Uh, so basically, you can for detailed, like you can also return float or double, whatever you like, from this return type, and you can pass any integer variable also. Suppose you write int x, some int x comma int y, then these x and y variable can be used as x and y in this function here. So this is the like basic use of function for like some basic operations. So now I think I should discuss basically class and objects in C++. I have covered for loop, if else statement, to a basic extent and concept. You can also like for going like to advanced usage and understanding their better functionality, you can refer to the websites which I mentioned in starting. You will be able to get this tutorial I'm just making for uh, to help you able to gain understanding in the language, the basics one. So I think I should discuss about class and objects. So basically, classes are a kind of basically, for example, I should give in Java. What we see, Java is a completely object like class based programming language. There are whatever function we do, whatever we perform it is embedded into classes only. But in C++, uh, we have a main function. We are like traversing through functions. So, but we can also create a class in C++, basically. So, really, class is a user-defined data type, and you can like there is a you have to use class keyword here, and you have to type class any keyword your name of class, for example, car. And so basically, classes are created for implementing object-oriented programming in the language. So also basically there is also a concept of access modifiers. For example, in this case we are only having one class, but like if in case there are some variables in our parent class which we don't want to like send to the another inherited class. So basically, what is parent class? This is our parent class, and if we create another class and we want some functions which are in this class in another class, so we have to actually inherit this class in that class. uh, uh, so guys, this is a sample code of a class. So I have created a class move here, and basically I'm using an access modifier. Basically, access modifier are like public, private, and protected in C++. So they are used to denote that whether we want this particular variable to be inherited by another class or not. So basically, what I'm doing is uh, like see I have created an object of the class. So I have this is class move. It has this function void print name, void print id. I am printing the id. So to access the variables of, as it is a public variable, we can just directly access it by dot operator here. But if it was a private variable, we won't be able to access it like this. We have to like initialize it in the class itself. So basically object one dot name, I am using here xyz. Similarly object one dot id, I am assigning it, and you can see I am also getting the values. I think you understand. If I use it as private, like I am assigning it as a private variable, and see what that happens. So you can see it gives us as an error that string movement is a private within this context. So I cannot access it. Similarly, id, like whatever comes after this private will become as a private only. You can see. So if I want to like do make this below functions public, I have to mention here public. Now you can see that functions are removed from here. Only variables are coming because they are still private. So basically I have to assign it a value here only. Now you can see I am getting the value here, same as like. But yeah, you should also know about basically constructors. What are constructor is like, they are used. They basically run when we just call the object. Like when we create the object of a class. Uh, so the constructor is run to basically initialize the variables. So like we have just created these variables, as you can see. So basically, if we don't want to initialize them here, we can just do it inside the constructor. When we are creating the object, the constructor will initialize them for us. We can just do it here itself, like the initialization. Now you can see I will get the same output. Hmm, 1 minute. Let me did mistake somewhere. Okay, okay. Sorry, actually I declared it as private, which is then it will not be able to run. So now you can see uh, it is able to like show my output. So we want to dive into more about constructors, you can see, but this is the basic how we use as constructors. So like I have given you overview of the class. What are classes? So they are user defined data types, and Basically now what you have understood. So now we can basically understand what is protected access modifier. So for that we have to understand the inheritance in classes. So give me 1 minute. I shall prepare the code. So guys, as you can see, I have created another function and I am inheriting move class from it. So basically, when you inherit a function, you can either create it as a public function, private, or protected. So what is protected is, if you create a variable here as protected, you can just use it inside the class which you just inherited. But if you try to access it in you can just use it in the class which you just inherited. But if that inherited class is the parent class of some another inherited class, so that the third class cannot use that protected variable. This is the use of protected keyword. I'm not going into detail, I'm just covering the basic here. Otherwise you will be confused. You can just practice and get you will be able to understand. uh, so now uh, you can see that I am getting this error. This is because I have, if you do not put anything here, it will be by default private. So you have to just declare it public, private type protected. If you don't write anything, it is by default private. So make sure you write public here if you want to like uh, make it as public public access modifier. So in this, I also want to you to show like what is operate function overloading. So as you can see, this function is also having two print IDs, but it is calling this one. Why it is because this is called function overloading. So I have created this object. I am calling this from object to the print ID. So which is the current function, which is the new function in the inherited class. It will call that because it is the object of this one. But like hope this is called function overloading. It is not going to call this function which is of the previous class. So we have to, if you want only this, we have to create the object of this and access this function. uh, yeah. So I think I have so guys, basically you can see it is calling in id first and id in the second part. So guys, basically in this video I am covering only this much in the user data types and general data types. What this is like the basic foundation for like using basic building blocks. Subscribe to my channel and give a like to my video. If you have any doubts or you want any detailed topic video, please tell me in the comments. I will create it separately, because if I try to create it in a long go, you will be also tired, and it would be tough to cope up in such a long video. So you tell me, I will create it separately for you. Thank you. So guys, hope you liked my video. I know it was a short introduction to every topic. I didn't cover it in detail, but yeah, actually it was basically a sprint video, like just a basic refresher C++ coding video, like what are classes, what are basic concepts, what are like what things does what mean in C++. So this video was basically for that, to understand what these things mean, what are classes, what are functions, to make you understand that. Although for those people who don't basically who are not able to understand these things. But yeah, so basically hope those people who had problem in understanding, they might now be able to actually start start understanding these concepts C++, and can begin with more logical coding basically. Yeah. So uh, So what I wanted to say, like, please subscribe to my channel, and if you like the way of my explaining, like, please drop me in comments what videos you want, what type of videos you want. I will create them, not like too long, but yeah, in a general timeline, I will create them for you. Uh, so I think that's enough. Thank you.